In this Starfield build guide, I'll be teaching you how to create a fun, action-packed build that lets you stay highly mobile and charge into enemy camps with abandon. This shotgun build will help you take down enemies quickly without even aiming, and is viable in very hard difficulty. Before we get into it, however, please be mindful that this build contains unavoidable early game spoilers due to showing some combat mechanics you might not be aware of. If you want to avoid all spoilers, read our written guide and don't go past the section labeled spoiler. The Shotgun Sprinter is a Starfield build focused on maximizing the damage output of shotguns and optimizing your equipment to be able to absorb attacks while you clear a camp. This is a high damage, high risk, high reward build, perfect for those wanting combat to feel challenging but who still want to be able to take out enemies with 1 or 2 hits. This build begins to come together early in the game and will shine when perfected over level 30, making it a good all-game loadout. Your first decision will be to select a background and traits for your character. Since this is in-your-face kind of build, I suggest you pick one of the following backgrounds. Bounty Hunter. This gives you piloting, boost pack training, and targeting control systems. All these are important quality of life skills, and having them by default means you can put your level up skill points into your combat skills sooner. Industrialist. This gives you persuasion, security, and research methods. The first two are must-haves for any character, and research methods is one of the skills we'll invest into for this build, so this is a good option. Long Hauler gives you weightlifting, piloting, and ballistic weapon systems. Weightlifting and piloting are core needed skills for any player because of the quality of life they deliver, and you will be investing into weightlifting to unlock the second tier of skills on physical, so this saves you a point. Ballistic weapon systems will make your space combat just a tad easier as well. Soldier gives you ballistics, boost pack training, and fitness. All of these skills work well with this build as we'll be focusing on ballistic weapons, and having more oxygen for sprinting is always a plus. Boost pack training is a must on any character. And finally, File Not Found. This unique background gives you ballistics and piloting and adds wellness, which will increase your health. More health can be very valuable when you're playing a run and gun style of character, so it's a decent option. As I've mentioned in my previous guides, traits are a big decision because you have to opt for gameplay or roleplay. If you want to pick roleplay traits, you can. It won't really affect your performance. These are just my suggestions for optimization. Alien DNA. This gives you a bonus to oxygen and health at the expense of food performance. It's well worth it in my opinion, particularly during the early sections of the game before your build has fully come together. Extrovert. This will increase your performance when out with your companions, which should be all the time as you won't be doing any stealth. And Terra Firma. I spend most of my oxygen sprinting when exploring planets, so this one is a must-have. This Starfield build is meant to completely come together at levels 30 plus because you're aiming for 2 of the master skills that are only unlocked after spending 12 points in the combat skill tree. For this reason, your weapons and mods will have an impact on your performance as you level up before things are completely fleshed out, and you should pay close attention to these. Your first task should be to procure a shotgun or particle beam shotgun with some good quality perks. This can be done by visiting the vendors of the game. An early but very useful place to check out is Roland Arms or Loretto Firearms in Aquila City or Aquila Cheyenne, and the general vendor there as well. You may get some drops or loot of good weapons as you go, but keep in mind that weapon rarity, the color, doesn't always mean the weapon is better. The base damage of your weapon is its most important aspect, and that changes based on weapon level, so you want to make sure you keep updating your weapon as you level up. There are 4 different rarities in Starfield, and each is inherently related to the amount of perks the weapon possesses. You'll not be able to change, remove, or add perks to your equipment, so you need to make it work with what you find. For the Shotgun Sprinter build, you'll want to find the following bonuses. Instigating, which deals double damage to targets with full health. This is massive as it will give you a good chance to kill enemies in one hit. Anti-personnel, plus 10% damage against humans. Most of your enemies will be human, so this is a useful increase to your damage. And finally, Rapid, plus 25% increase in attack speed. This is nice to have when you're dealing with legendary enemies that have shields and need many hits. Weapon mods are also very important for this build, and you'll want to spend points into research methods and weapon engineering to unlock all the mods available. My favorite mods to slot are Long Barrel. Improves accuracy and recoil control at the expense of aim down sight speed. We don't really use ADS, so this is a good trade-off. Compensator. This reduces long-range accuracy, which isn't great, but does improve stability and hipfire accuracy, and we hipfire 99% of the time with this build. Choke. This is not a bad alternative to the Compensator since it reduces shotgun spread, making it more likely to hit the target. Slug Shots. This changes your ammo to slugs that doesn't spread nearly as much and hits much harder. This helps with both accuracy and damage and is a must if you want to play a ballistic shotgun build. High Powered. Increases damage done. You want as much damage as you can so you can kill enemies in 1 or 2 shots. Semi-automatic. The fire rate on a shotgun is not that much different between full and semi-auto, so you might as well take the semi-auto so you can take advantage of the marksman skill eventually. And if you're using a particle beam shotgun, you'll want Amplifier. This increases damage significantly and is a great mod to take when you're looking to do as much damage as possible with each single shot. Armor and apparel can actually make a big difference on this build because you'll be in the open very often. For apparel, I would suggest trying to get one of the ECS uniforms such as the ECS Captain Actionwear, as this gives you a small percentage increase to your reload speed, or really anything that increases your damage resistance. For your spacesuit and helmet, you want to be on the lookout for mods that improve your resistance to damage, giving you healing benefits, or optimize your oxygen for sprinting. I suggest the following perks. Bolstering. This increases your energy and physical resistance the lower your health goes. Great for keeping you alive in a pinch. Combat Veteran. Reduces the damage you take from humans by 15%. This is the most common enemy type in the game by far, so this is a great pickup. O2 Filter. This reduces your oxygen consumption by 25%. You sprint non-stop with this build, so this is a great one to have as well. Spacesuit mods are also a factor with this build because you can use them to further reduce the damage you take. Staying alive is much harder when you're constantly running up to enemies, and anything you can do to reduce damage is vital. I like the following mods for your suit. Ballistic Shielding, a helmet and spacesuit mod to increase damage resistance. EM Shielding. If you're having more trouble with EM than physical, opt for this mod instead of ballistic. Emergency Aid. This will make your suit auto-heal you, and it's invaluable when in a big fight. And finally, Heavy Shielding. This is a must-have as it will greatly improve your damage resistance. I have a tendency to ignore chems and food in these kinds of games, but for this build there are some specific items that make a very crucial difference. I was able to clear camps with enemies double my level, 35 levels above me, with a good combination of skills and setup, and some assistance from chems. You should stock up on med packs. This is a no-brainer. Buy all the med packs you find, as they will be applied automatically by your suit if you select that mod, and allow you to be reckless in battle. Trauma packs. A stronger med pack, buy them whenever you find them. Battle Stim. Gives you plus 250 damage resistance for 5 minutes. This is a really huge boost. You can buy these from vendors everywhere. Bodica. Gives you plus 300 damage resistance and plus 30 oxygen for 3 minutes. You can buy this from Mary Cartwright at The Rock and Achilles City. Heal Gel. Gain 150 damage resistance for 5 minutes. You can buy this from most vendors including Sidonia, Aquila, and Neon City. Zipper Bandages. Gives you plus 150 damage resistance for 5 minutes. Can be bought from the Trade Authority at Achilles City. As with any build you're making for Starfield, you want to balance out the combat skills with the quality of life skills that you want for your gameplay. I will assume that you can balance combat advancement with your own questing skills based on how you're finding the combat and how important that is to you. I'll not revisit how the skill system works in full, but if you need more details on this, you can check out our Starfield Best Skills Guide to get the full picture. Note that I will actually give you 2 builds at once for this guide. One focuses on ballistics, the normal shotguns, while the other gives you an option for playing with particle beam shotguns. The combat skill distribution is different for each, so I'll divide them into 2 sections. Your first order of business will be to begin unlocking and spending points in the basic tier of skills. You'll want weightlifting, ballistics, shotgun certification, research methods, and piloting. These skills set up your basic character with quality of life features while enabling you to research a lot more efficiently. Combat-wise, ballistics and shotgun certification will buff your damage. My preferred approach here was to max shotgun certification, weightlifting, and ballistics ASAP, with piloting and research lagging behind based on what I need. If you picked a background with persuasion or hacking, just 1 level can be enough for those for now. Once you've got those, you'll begin on the advanced skills, which are pain tolerance, spacesuit design, and weapon engineering. Pain tolerance is a damage reduction skill. You can take other skills if you want, but I prefer to have the security of this since I made this build for very hard. Spacesuit design allows you to install good mods on your armor, and you absolutely should take it and do your research to get the full benefits of your suit. Weapon engineering allows you to install better mods on your weapons, and it's incredibly important that you take it in order to optimize your offense, as you'll have to swap weapons when leveling up due to damage degradation. Once you have those, you'll begin spending points into targeting and rapid reloading. Targeting improves accuracy and range when shooting without aiming, but also marks enemies that hit you. As you level it up, it increases the targets marked and the range it applies to, making it really useful for seeing where enemies are. Just 1 point in rapid reloading will greatly improve your reload times with your ballistic shotgun, so make sure you take this when you can. Once you have those, you'll focus on armor penetration and sharpshooting. Armor penetration is a master skill that's deceptive because you can't quite know how much armor your enemies have as you go about. I put 3 points into it to get my attacks to ignore 50% of enemy armor, and it's made a big difference against legendary enemies. Sharpshooting is an incredibly powerful master skill that starts off by making your headshot crits with ranged weapons do a fantastic 50% more damage. It ramps up to include leg crits and all crits, eventually giving you a 25% crit chance buff when you kill an enemy with a ranged critical. You can aim your shotgun for center mass, but I usually try to aim to below or upper parts of the body in order to gain these crits. You can opt for physical skills to reduce damage and regenerate health as well, which would make you a little bit less deadly but a lot more survivable. Eventually, you can get all of them as you reach 50+, so here are some extra skills I would take. Energy Weapon Dissipation. This can help when you're fighting against enemies with energy weapons, much like Pain Tolerance does against ballistics. And Marksmanship. If you opt to not have your shotgun be fully auto, Marksmanship gives great critical boosts that play very well with Sharpshooter. And if you decide to play a particle beam shotgun build, your choice for physical and science skills will be the same, but your combat section will look a little bit different. The main difference here is that you'll be taking particle beams, which will increase your damage and crit chance of your particle beam weapon instead of ballistics. In the next section, we're going to take a look at the powers that we use with a shotgun sprinter build. Beware, there are mild story spoilers from this point forward, so if you don't want these, please skip to the next section. After doing a couple of the main quests, you'll arrive at a point where you will visit a temple to discover your first power. Powers are special abilities that you gain by completing special events inside temples spread across the galaxy. These can give a huge impact to your gameplay, so knowing to go get them early on can save you a lot of frustration. Powers can be acquired in different orders and can be swapped on the fly so you can adapt to situations and make the best use of them. For this build, we'll be aiming to get the power Reactive Shield as soon as possible. This power allows you to cast a shield in front of you to protect yourself from damage and even reflect enemy projectiles. Since you're playing a very forward build and will be on the line of fire constantly, this can be a lifesaver. Another very useful power for any build is Sense Star Stuff. This power will allow you to cast a sensory net that makes living creatures shine in a special light, allowing you to see them through walls from a good distance. When playing a run and gun character, knowing where enemies are can be very important, so this is a fantastic power to pair with this style of play. Final tips. The key to this build is to enter fights prepared with damage resistance and position yourself smartly as you charge so that you don't take unnecessary damage on your way to the enemies. Using extra items that grant bonus movement speed can be useful in closing gaps quickly as well. Leveling up does not take long if you maximize your scanning, crafting, and questing, as discovering systems and locations also gives XP. You can also get an XP buff from sleeping in a bed, such as the one available on your ship. The general gameplay approach will be cast Protective Shield and then quickly charge into the fray, aiming to take enemies down quickly with from-the-hip shotgun blasts. Keep on the move and be very aggressive. You want to kill everything before it has a chance to kill you. Looting can be done after combat. Also be mindful of when to boost with this character. If you shoot yourself too high into the air and slowly float down in low-gravity areas, you'll boost yourself too far away from enemies and they'll be able to shoot you while you cannot hit them effectively. And finally, there are some good fixed weapons like the Particle Beam Shotgun Big Bang that players may find that work perfectly for this build, so I'd love to hear from you about what you found in the comments, and I'll add the notes to the written version of this guide for other players to check out. Make sure to include where you found your loot. So that wraps up our Shotgun Sprinter build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a bit different than the last build we did. It's much more straightforward. We also have builds planned for a pistol build and also a melee build. I don't know how many other builds we'll be able to get out for this game, but we will try and get as many as we can. As always, if you have other tips for players, be sure to leave them in the comments, and if you have questions, leave them there as well, and I will try and answer them as quickly as I